Hi, Keith Young here with another flyer design tutorial for flyerdesignsecretsrevealed.com. In this flyer design tutorial, we're going to cover how to create this nice looking and colorful looking club flyer. And we're going to use several different elements to do that. So I'm just going to cover that real quick, and then we're going to jump right into creating the different elements for this flyer. First of all, we have some text here that I downloaded from a website called dafont.com, and it's a very nice looking font, and I'm going to show you where to find that at and how to get this glow look to that. We're going to add a background that looks like a dragon here, this dragon image. I'm going to show you how to add this image and how to give it this colorful rainbow look. I'm also going to show you how to add a 3D element to your flyer design by using a free 3D program called Dash 3D to model and pose a character and then add that into your flyer design. I'm not going to go through the entire process of modeling and posing, but I am going to cover how that was done and how I inserted this image into the flyer. This also helps to solve the problem for designers when you're at a loss for having a custom model image to use in your flyers. Dash 3D allows you to create your own characters that of course you don't have to pay the royalty fee to add to your flyers. So that's a really good way to create some image assets that you alone have the copyright to. Alright, so you're not going to see your images all over other people's flyers unless they, get them from your website or something like that. Alright, so I'm also going to show you how to create this nice looking silhouette based on one of your 3D characters. It's very simple and easy to do, and very simple to add to your flyer design. That's pretty much all the elements that we're going to create with our flyer design. So let's jump right into creating our flyer. So this is our flyer without any of the fancy graphics behind there. I'm not going to bore you with showing you how I typed all this information in. Just know that all this type is pretty much aligned to the left, and I'm going to show you where I got this nice Glitter Girl font from. If we go to the web, the site that I found that font on is called www.dafont.com, and the name of the font is called Akka, A-K-K-A. And as you can see here, the font is free to download, and all you need to do is click on the download button. It'll download right to your system, and then you can install it and get busy designing with it. Alright, so if you want to follow along, go ahead and download this font. So back to Photoshop, and let's get going with our design. So these were two different colors. I had a blue and pink color. So let's go ahead and add the layer effects to add this glow behind the glitter girl. So for glitter, I'm going to go select the layer, and then right down here in the Photoshop layers panel, I'm going to click on the effects button, and then I'm going to choose outer glow, and I'm going to change the layer style. I'm going to change the color from this yellow color to, we'll go ahead and add the RGB value 0, 96, and 255. That'll give us a nice blue color. We're going to leave the spread set to 0, and we're going to change the size to 106. So I'm just going to use the slider here to slide this all the way up to 106, and that gives me pretty much the look that I'm looking for as far as the glow. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That's all I need to do here. For the girl layer, now I'm going to go back to the original flyer, because I want you to see that this L, I have actually stretched that all the way across the flyer. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly with Photoshop. So what we need to do is, first of all, this is an editable type layer, and in order for me to modify this L, I'm going to have to rasterize this layer, or drop it down so that it's made up of pixels instead of vectors. So what I am going to do is go over to the layers panel, and then I'm going to create a new layer by clicking the new layer icon, and then I'm going to merge these two layers. So I'm going to shift select the girl type, and then I'm going to hit Control E or Command E, depending on whether you have a Mac or PC, on my keyboard, and that is going to merge those two layers. And now this is pixels instead of an editable type layer, so I'm not going to be able to edit this type anymore. So you better be sure that you have what you want when you do that effect, merge the layers. In order to stretch the pixels across the screen, what I'm going to do is choose the marquee tool, the rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to click it and drag it across the bottom of the L here, and then I'm going to go to the edit menu and choose transform. And what I want to do is, matter of fact, let's just do a free transform. Now I'm going to click and drag this control handle and drag this all the way across here, and as you can see, it just pulls those pixels. I'm going to accept that change, and then I'm going to hit Command D on my keyboard, or Control D if you have a PC, and now I've stretched those pixels for the girl. Alright, and now I'm going to add a layer style. Once again, I'm going to add an outer glow. This time I'm going to do a pink color, and the RGB values are 0, 38, and no, that's the wrong. That's not quite right. Let's do that again. Let's go 247 for the red, 74 for green, and 204 for the blue, and that's going to give us a nice pink color. Click OK, and I am going to change the size of this to spread this out as well, make it nice and hot. Alright, and then click OK. Alright, so now we have our glitter girl. Now what I'm going to do is I want to add the image of the dragon, this dragon in the background. So what I did was I found a vector dragon online, and here it is. You can find it at www.freevectors.net/details/Japanese plus dragon plus vector plus art. And you can download this and use this art. It's free from freevectors.net, and you'll be able to use this in your design. So if you're following along, go ahead and download that. I'm going to jump back over to Photoshop, and then I'm going to go out to my desktop where alright, I'm just going to open it up. I know I saved it on my hard drive. So I got the free dragon tattoo. Alright, and there it is. Now when I downloaded it, this is how it looked. Alright, it was black and white image, and in order for me to work with it, I needed to reverse those colors. So all you need to do to reverse, I want the white outline to be on the outside, and I want the black to be on the inside. So in order to do that, it's very easy. All you need to do is go to Image and choose Adjustments and Invert, or you can use the Command I or Control I keyboard shortcut to invert those colors, like so. We'll move this to the side so that we can see both the dragon and our flyer. I'm going to choose the Move tool and then click and drag this right on over to my flyer. Now it's on top of some of my types, so I'm going to click this layer and drag it down to just above the background layer. It's a little large, so first let me go ahead and close this dragon image. We don't need that anymore. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to do another free transform. So I'm going to hit Command and then T on my keyboard, and I'm going to click and drag one of these control handles. I'm holding down the Shift key so that it constrains the proportions, and it doesn't allow me to squeeze or stretch or pull my dragon so that's out of proportion. Alright, we don't like that. We don't want to do that. So you hold down the Shift key, and that will make sure that your image stays in proportion while you are scaling it. So I'm just gonna move him into position. Alright, and now if we take a look at our finished flyer, you can see that I've added this colorful rainbow behind him, or on top of the dragon. So before we do that, let's go ahead and add this pink banner down below. So let's sample this color to make sure we get the right color, and then go back over to our working flyer. And in order to create that banner down below, I'm going to use a shape layer. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool, and it already picked up my foreground color, which was that pink that I sampled, and I'm already below that type layer. So I'm just going to click and drag out a banner, and there we have our pink banner. Alright, now I'm going to click on the dragon layer. Matter of fact, I'm going to double click it real quick, and then I'm going to name it dragon. And then I'm going to add a new layer on top of that. And how we add our rainbow effect is we are going to use the gradient tool. So click on the gradient tool. I need you to click right on the gradient bar, and that's going to bring up the gradient editor. And then what we're going to do is choose the spectrum gradient preset, and that'll give you a rainbow of colors in your gradient, and then go ahead and click OK. That should be among your default colors in Photoshop. If you don't have this particular gradient preset, what you're going to need to do is load the gradient preset from your gradients folder inside of Photoshop. So I'll show you how to do that real quickly. It's not hard to do. You just click on load, and then you navigate to wherever your Photoshop application is being stored, and you go down to the presets folder, choose gradients, and then you have several presets in here, and one of them is spectrums. You would click on the spectrums and then click load, and it'll load in all these different rainbow colored or spectrum colors for you to use in your Photoshop document. Choose one and click OK. Now back on our blank layer, what we're going to do is with our gradient tool, click and drag in a diagonal manner across this dragon, and you see it kind of messes up everything immediately. We get this real hot, colorful looking gradient. But we are going to change the layer style, and over in the layers panel, we're going to go to the color dodge. I'm sorry, that's the we're going to actually do color burn, and that's going to give us our real colorful looking dragon. Alright, so I want to give him a little bit of a glow, so this is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to duplicate the dragon layer by clicking this dragon layer and dragging it onto the new layer icon. That's going to create a copy. I'm going to turn off the top copy, and for the original, I'm going to select that layer, go to filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. 5.5 pixels is fine, and then I'm going to, that gives us a little glow of a blurred pixels behind there, and then I'm going to turn back on the copy, And what that does is it gives us a real subtle glow effect around our dragon. So that's pretty cool. Alright. Now I do notice something, that this part of the dragon back here is interfering a bit with my type, and I don't like that. So what I want to do is I'm going to, for the top dragon copy, I'm going to add a layer mask. I'm going to go in and choose my paintbrush, and with black selected as my foreground color, I'm going to paint over the dragon in the areas where it intersects my type, because I don't want it to interfere with my type layer. I want to be able to really see what the type says. So this gets rid of that real sharp line behind there, and I can still see the blurred line, which is the layer below, but this is allowing me to erase some of that harshness behind my type so that I can still really read my type. Which you have to always keep in mind when you're adding effects to your flyer. You don't want to get so out of hand with the effects that you can't actually read the information on the flyer. Alright, so now we got our glitter girl type, we have our dragon added to the effect, and the next thing we need to do is, I promised I would show you how to add a 3D element to your flyer by creating a 3D model. And the software that I use to do that is called DAZ 3D. So let's jump over to the web real quick and take a look at that. DAZ 3D is a free 3D content creation program that you can download for free, and then you can add characters like Victoria here to your DAZ 3D software, and you can model them and pose them and then render out a picture and then add that to your Photoshop documents. And you can you don't have to take her as she is. You can actually add different skins and hair and clothing. You can dress her up just like a virtual doll, and then you can render her. And the software is has progressed along quite a bit so that you can get some very professional looking results with it in a very short amount of time, and you don't have to be a experienced 3D modeler. A place where I get some nice skins for my Victoria model is rendercandy.com, www.rendercandy.com, and this young lady makes some very nice looking characters that you can purchase for, as you can see, about $10.99, $6.99. You can purchase her skins for the Victoria model and add them and then render it out. Alright, so I'm sharing, these are professional secrets I'm sharing here, so I don't do this all the time, but here's where you can find some great looking skins for your DAZ 3D characters. And I'm going to go ahead and launch DAZ 3D, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. Okay, so here I have DAZ Studio 3.0 opened up, and I have my Victoria character loaded, and I have, of course, one of those Render Candy skins applied to her. And as you can see, I can move this model around in 3D space, and then I can add some lights, and whenever I'm ready I can render a picture of her, and I can take that finished render and then add it to my Photoshop document. Once again, I'm not going to take you through that entire process. I just wanted to show you the program and show you pretty much how it works and how you can apply this to your design toolbox and get some really good results, especially if you make party flyers, which I do. So moving on, I'm going to go to my Photoshop files, and I'm going to open up the model that I'm going to use. This is already a pre-rendered DAZ model. So this is my character. I created her in DAZ, and she's been made with I got two layers here. I have a base layer and then one to add a little bit of contrast on top, and I'm going to make sure both layers are selected. click on the move tool, and then I'm going to click and drag her over, and I want to make sure that these layers are moved above that gradient layer and above this shape layer. And I'm just going to move her right on top. I also want to move her on top of this glitter girl type as well. So we'll just make sure both layers are selected. Just keep clicking, click and drag her up above there. Alright, now we're going to add a couple more gradients. These gradients are really easy to do. I want to add a gradient on top of her here, and on top of this banner down here as well. So let's see how we can do that. I'm going to add a transparent black layer, so I'm going to make sure the foreground color is set to black. I'm going to click on the gradient editor, and I want to choose this foreground to transparent gradient. Click OK, and down below I'm going to click on the shape layer, click the add new layer button, and now I'm going to hold down the shift key and click and drag that transparent to black gradient there, and I'm just going to control Z that. I went a little bit too far, and do that again. Alright, that's much better. Alright, so I like the way that's looking. Alright, so we have our 3D character added, and we have our glitter girl type, we have our dragon in the background. Alright, that's just for texture, so I know that she's covering up the dragon here, but the dragon is just for texture, so that's still cool that we have going on. And then I promised you I'd show you how to use a 3D model to create or an image to create a silhouette, so let's do that. I'm going to open up the image I want to use as a silhouette. And once again, this is pre-rendered from Dash 3D. And all I need to do is, she's already been extracted, or when it renders from Dash 3D, it actually gives you your character on a transparent background, so you don't even have to cut the image out, which is very awesome. What I want to do is load this image as a selection, so I'm going to hold down the Command key on a Mac and then click on this layer, and as you can see, it selects the image. And then I'm going to create a new layer by clicking the add new layer icon, and then I'm going to fill it with black, and there we have our silhouette. Alright, that was very easy to do. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect that selection, move this so that we can see both the silhouette and the flyer, choose the move tool, and then click and drag this silhouette over to my flyer. Now I can't see it, alright, so black wasn't the best idea for creating my silhouette. So what I'm going to do is, down here in the layers panel, click on the effects button, and then I'm going to add a color overlay. Red is the default color, and I don't want that color. I prefer white, so I'm just going to change that to white here. Click OK, and click OK. Now we have our silhouette, and the silhouette's a little large, so I'm going to hit Control T to free transform this and shrink this down, because I really just want to use it as a design element. I don't want it to overpower any of my other elements. And there we have it. We have the silhouette image of our dancer on top of the date and time here, and that is pretty much how I created this glitter girl party flyer. And if you're interested in learning how to use Photoshop to create flyer designs for your next party, event, or invitation, and you need to learn how to use Photoshop to do it, you can visit me at www.flyerdesignsecretsrevealed.com. Now when you go there, I have a free workshop for you called Photoshop Selections, and it's going to show you how to use the various Photoshop selection tools like the marquee tool, the lasso tools, the magic wand tool, and the quick selection tool, as well as channels to make selections around all different types of images, including images of models with hair. And if you've been doing any flyers, if you've got started, you know that that's about the hardest part of doing your design, is making an accurate selection. So if you go on over to flyerdesignsecretsrevealed.com, get signed up for my Photoshop Selections mini course, and then check out my Flyer Design Secrets Revealed program, where I take you step by step through the creation of several different flyer designs that you can use for, once again, parties, events, or invitations. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up here on YouTube, and if I can help you out, I most certainly will. And until next time, thanks